Baby, it is a total disaster. Okay. Every year in my garden, I do an extensive spring display, if you will. Spring is one of my favorite times in the garden. And I know you might be thinking, wait a minute, why are you talking about spring when it is still fall? Well, in order to have a luxurious spring show, then you really want to start planning the fall before the spring. One of the things that I like to incorporate in all of my spring displays is a beautiful assortment of spring bulbs. And those are planted in the fall time. So I just finished up my order. I grabbed a quick bite to eat, and then from there I push send on my order. And one of the things that I like to do with my orders is I like to order bulbs from a few different places. And I also like to get bulbs from the big box stores, because that way it gives you sometimes a different colorway that may be offered in your bulb catalog. And then sometimes the quantity that you may need, you can't order that limited amount inside of a bulb catalog. So I like to get those from a big box store. And with the big box stores, you're leaving out with your product in hand. And then with the catalog, you got to wait for it to come through mail order and so on and so on. So once my bulb order comes in, we'll definitely be planting up the bulbs, because I'm super excited about my display for spring 2026. I'm super duper excited. Now, one of the other things that I like to do, in addition to using like daffodils and using tulips and alliums, I love to use ranunculus. Now, ranunculus is sort of in the bulb family, but it falls under a corm. So every year I like to do ranunculus. So I always plant ranunculus corms. So when I plant up my ranunculus corms, what I like to start with is, one, I will start a batch in the fall time. And then I'll also make sure to start a batch of ranunculus in the winter time as well. And that way I have that staggered show. So I am going to be taking you all behind the scenes with me a lot more this season as we begin to prep for our next season show 2026, because I'm kind of excited about our 2026 spring display. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be starting some ranunculus corms. I'm going to start those with you all and show you how I like to have success with them. And when I bump up my ranunculus corms, I like to use different containers. So I have this size of containers right here on hand, and then I also keep this size containers, and I have those linked on my Amazon store. So one of the things that I found, you're doing certain bulb projects or just planting in general, when you go in and you have all of your supplies at once, maybe they're tucked off in a container somewhere in the garage or in your potting shed or in your greenhouse, I find that if you have them on hand, you're going to be more successful in the end. So I like to use these size for my containers because I do a lot of springtime containers over the years. So, and how I know which colorway I'm going with and how to plan up is I start now the year before and I start planning that out. That way I can tweak and change this out, add this in if need be. In addition to just my experience over the years with bulbs, corms, and tubers, I like to do a lot of reading. And one of the books that I found helpful has been this Roald Dahl's Successful Organic Gardening Annuals in Bulbs. I absolutely love this book, and I feel like sometimes, you know, going through the practice of dropping the bulb in the ground, you know, it's kind of like a step 1, step 2, step 3, but I like to do deep dives and just educate myself. I'm not sure if we'll be able to link this book here, but I'll try to find this, and if I can, I'll also link this in my Amazon store as well. We're going to start off by doing some Ranunculus Corms, and we'll start our pre-soaking method, and then we'll move on to the next task at hand. The supplies we're going to be using, I have distilled water here. Now you don't have to use distilled water. I like to use distilled water because sometimes when you use your tap water, depending on your treatment system, they may have more or less chlorine in the water. So I use distilled water, and I started doing that maybe a few years back. So I got my distilled water, and sometimes I'll use about 3 jugs, and so I'll show you that when we get to that process. Then I have organza bags. I have my clear vessel that we're going to use to soak them in. Doesn't have to be clear. This is just what I'm using. So whatever type of bucket you use, sometimes or most often I'll use a bucket. But here recently I have been using more glass vessels, so we'll use that. I also have on the inside of here a fish tank bubbler. I'll be sure to link one, and so that'll just hang on the side there. And I have gloves. And then I also have, most importantly, my container. Now, when I soak my ranunculus, when I pre-sprout my ranunculus, I like to use these containers. You guys have seen me using these in my videos before. The roots are on fire. When I tell you that I use whatever resources that I have on hand, now it really just goes to show that you can achieve the same exact result in the end using exactly what you have on hand. So if you don't want to use distilled water, don't use distilled water. If you want to use your tap water, use your tap water, because I've used tap water before as well too. If you don't want to use these, you can use a regular tray, like your 72 count trays, your 40 count trays. You can take your Ranunculus Corms and put them directly into a tray that you start seeds up in. It's no wrong to doing that. And I'll walk you through on how I do mine, but most importantly, we are going to need our ranunculus. So these are some ranunculus that I've used in prior years. I do a lot of containers with ranunculus. So sometimes if I have a mixed container of ranunculus, then what happens is, unless I get out there and tag my ranunculus to where I can see the color of them, then you'll just pretty much just see a mix. Also need some type of marker. If you're doing multiple rounds of ranunculus at one time, you'll need a marker. And then I have my labels. So I have 2 labels here, and then I will use my plant label, and I'll use these to divide my sections if I'm doing multiples. But since we are using the same type, which is just like a romantic pink blend, then we will only need 1 label, but I always just bring 2 just in case. And let me show you what the ranunculus look like. Here's what your ranunculus corms look like up close. We're going to get flowers 3 weeks sooner than if we were just to pop these right on into the ground. This is why you want to pre-sprout them. And you're going to see a notable size change in the ranunculus. We'll go in and we'll start to wash our container, because the first thing that you want to do during this process, you want to make sure cleanliness is going to be important. So I'm going to go ahead and wash out this vase here. So we'll wash this out. And then your temperature is also going to be important, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Now our container, our vessel is cleaned up all the way. So what I like to do is I take these organza bags from that point. Then I'll go ahead and I'll take my ranunculus corms. I'll put them on the inside of the organza bag. I will be sure to go ahead and link these organza bags on my Amazon storefront, because I'm telling you, when I'm sending you guys over to my Amazon page, just know I do get a small little bitty commission, honey. It's not anything to write home about. But I will say this. The products that I'm linking on here, if you want to get into pretty much having your own nursery to where you control when you have plants, you don't have to wait on the big box stores or the local garden centers. I'm dropping jewels over there on my Amazon store, okay? I am dropping the jewels. So I'll be sure to link these down below, so you will be able to go ahead, click on, and get your organza bags, because the organza bags come into play with more than just ranunculus. So I'm just going to take my ranunculus corms, drop them on the inside of the bag. Matter of fact, we'll just go ahead and get started. are going to grab an ice cube because we want to make sure our water does not get too warm. Let's drop this ice cube on the inside and we'll get one more. I hear ya, I hear ya. We'll get one more of our ice cubes. I'll go ahead and I'll add this ice cube down in here. So easy fix. And so the reason why I like to go ahead and add some ice cubes is because if your water gets too warm, it's going to be the perfect breeding ground for bacteria. Now you can go ahead and you can change out your water. These are just a couple of the things that I like to do with my ranunculus when I'm pre-sprouting them. I'm telling you, it is so easy to pre-sprout ranunculus. It's all about just giving them the right environment, the right timing. Now, if you live in zone 7B or higher, by all means, start your ranunculus in the fall. And if you live in colder zones, you can start a fall crop. Now, we're technically USDA zone 7, right? So they say, although this year I'm really starting to think that maybe with global warming and everything, we have moved on up to a zone 7. But I have a sheltered area. I've been providing ranunculus with the correct environment that they like to be in over the years, so I've been successful at doing them. Because I believe that if I were to go out and I were to plant my ranunculus, pre-sprout them in the ground, they definitely would not make it. But if I had a greenhouse, earlier today I was watching Claudia, formerly known as the Organized Homemaker, but she rebranded and she changed her name to Claudia Grows It All. I totally was thinking like that might be an option. We're going to go ahead and prep our soil. Now for this method, I am going to be using regular potting soil. I have it here. I'm just using some Fertiloom. So just regular potting soil. And I am going to still be using the distilled water. And we're just going to go in and I have my pan here. Now you can get these pans very cheaply. If you're not able to find them with the lid, I'll also link those on my Amazon store as well. Water. Okay, so you see how it kind of holds its shape, but then it falls apart. That is the moisture level where you want your soil at. My entire front garden is an absolute disaster right now. You all, I'm going to show you how my front garden is looking. I thought I was going to be able to get out here and do my front entry containers. That is not going to be possible because as I look to my right, It is a total disaster. So let me show you what it's looking like. I thought that we wouldn't have to do this. I thought the method they were going to use was not going to entail my front yard just being completely dug up and destroyed, but that is definitely not the case. So let me show you what everything is looking like, and we'll go ahead and move on to our next project from there. But I am just in an absolute, like, hello, like, we literally, OMG. So we're going to have to pivot a little bit because, baby, it is a total disaster. Okay. Thing is just all torn apart. So I mean, just dirt on top of dirt. So I didn't know if they were going to have to go in and tear my flower bed up, but they were able to save the flower bed. So we're good on that part. Now I just got to get this grass back together because we cannot have a bald spot in the lawn. Look at my front yard. This is criminal. We're going to pivot. What we're going to do is we are going to go antiquing. Now, there are several different things that I have been looking for. One is a bistro set, any type of blue and white, any copper, and I'm looking for vintage style containers because the holiday is coming up, and I love to use different style containers when I'm planting up my different amaryllis arrangements. Baby, it just takes them over the top. So any type of glass that I come across, I'm definitely going to be looking for any type of glass. So what we'll do, we'll head out and we'll run to the antique shop. I want to run to at least 2 to 3 because sometimes you stop at one and it's like a one-stop shop. They have everything that you need. And then other times you stop at one and it's like nothing there. You stop at the second one, nothing there. By the time you get to the third or fifth, you're hitting the jackpot. And then also made some changes at one of the antique shops that I go to often. I want to get a tour of the area. So we'll technically be right on time. Actually, we'll get there early since we can't do the front entryway containers because it's like, first of all, I mean, you guys see how deep the soil goes down. Like it's barely any room to get to the front door. So I do want to stop and look back into the ranunculus because one of the most important things during the pre-sprouting, and that's while your corms are soaking, and then also while you're pre-sprouting, your temperature is going to be one of the most important elements because if they get too hot, then you're going to have problems with getting blooms. So if you've ever done ranunculus before and you pre-sprout it and you use warm water, that could be your culprit. Or if you were soaking them, if the water got stagnant, if the water had some type of bacteria in it because it was stagnant and you were just going by and just swishing, because that is a process that you can do. You also can put it, hey, the tub, you can put it in the tub and let it do a slow trickle in the tub. You can put it in the sink, let it do a slow trickle in the sink. There's so many different ways that you can do it, but I like to use my fish bubbler. So let's head in. So we'll add some more ice. I'm going to just put in like a cup of ice. I would use more of my round ice, but I don't want to do that because this is the ice that I use when I entertain versus this ice. I use this too, but most often if one of my good girlfriends or family is stopping by and we have some type of beverage, this is the ice that I love to use. And I turned my ice maker off since we had the water main break. So we'll go ahead and just use this. It'll work just as good too. We'll just drop the ice in there, and that way, ooh, it's stuck. That way we don't have to worry about our water getting too warm while we are out antiquing. So we'll start off in this store and we'll just start making our way around to the different antique stores, but this will be stop number 1. You guys, look at this fireplace.
I mean, he might.
But the price tag.
But he might go down a little bit because it's the owner's.
This is insane. Look at this piece. You literally can take this and put this on one wall, honey. By yourself. Put your 2 chairs on the side. You got the space up at the top. I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous. So we'll look and see what else they have in here. But this is right at the front door when you first come in. This is what you see when you first come in.
He owns the mall, and I manage it, and I love it here. You know, it's fun.
Oh wow!
A little messy right now, but take a look at this. All of this right here.
OMG!
Don't forget the Gremlins and Dr. Evil and Mini-Me.
Oh, this looks completely different.
Yeah, we got the pedal cars up, stage that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Go in that room with me, I'll put the lights on. It's like blast from the past.
Oh wow, look at this, y'all. Coca-Cola theme room. This would be perfect. I don't know if it's for sale now. That is crazy. It looks so different back here.
You got Spider-Man right above you.
Oh. You guys, you can get lost in here for hours. Now I like antiquing like this because you walk through the different booths and stuff and you can find so much stuff. Sometimes you got to walk through first, get your feeling, and then come back through and see what you're going to purchase. Oh wow, it just keeps going back and back and back. And it's more booths like over this way. See, booths like this, I would have to just look at this twice. Amazing. So does this connect to the other side now?
I'm sorry, what?
Or we gotta go back out?
You gotta go back
the way you came.
But instantly, if I was doing a little boy's room, you could easily get one of those cars and put that in your car's theme room. Or any one of the superheroes. Alright, so we're gonna go back here and see what they have. OMG, you guys, now look at this blue and white. I think the last time we were out here, we looked at these blue and white plates. I wonder, is it $19.99 for the set? Let's see. Because you know, sometimes they'll have it priced, oh no, it's per piece, it's per piece. But if you look at this, this is antique stoneware, Blue Flow by Cawdon, England. Oh wow. You guys, look what is still here. So do you all remember in one of our antiquing videos, we came out here and during Christmas time and we seen this, and part of me is saying get it, and then part of me is like keep it pushing. Okay, so we'll walk around this way here. Four pieces of blue. I want to amp up my blue, my white items. Of course, I'm always looking for copper items. That's cute. I like the frame on this. Here is some blue and white. And this is kind of what I mean by every time you come in here, sometimes you might have to come back twice. So I wanted to see what this was. And now I can see it. I just seen the blue and white sticking out. Same blue. Sports memorabilia up at the top. Now look at these wood pieces, you guys. If I knew how to do woodworking, honey, I would come right on out here and get me a piece of wood, and this would be my tabletop. But I'm not a woodworker. That table will more than likely fall apart. All right, we'll go ahead and head to the next stop. We're going to pull out our Ranunculus Corms. So already I can see that they are a lot larger. They look well hydrated. Our water is still cold, so we were successful on that front. So let's pull them out. And actually, we'll use the tray and just put them right on top of the soil. We'll grab these out. We are going to take a little bit of water with us. That's fine. This is how plump they are after we've soaked them. So nice, big, and healthy. So you want to take your ranunculus corm and you put the legs down in the soil just like that. My ranunculus, while I'm pre-sprouting these, I go ahead, I keep them on the counter. A high traffic area, somewhere that's out of the way, but somewhere that I'm going to pass through and I can peek over. Because if you start to notice that any of your ranunculus corms are starting to grow a little bit of mold, go ahead, you dig that one right out. So I'll be sure to take you all along the journey with me, and make sure to head over to Claudia's page. Claudia Grows It All, and I'll be sure to link her down in the description box. Sure to subscribe to the channel and check that greenhouse out, because I think that might be the perfect hobby greenhouse. I want to know y'all opinion on it. Until next time, my friends, thanks for hanging out with me, y'all. Baby, it is a total disaster. Okay.